morning. This is Montgomery here. It's not a sunny day, but it's not raining, so if you can get outside today for a little bit of recess, I think that would be great. Um, Today I'm going to read a story by a local author, um, Brian Lees. Brian lives in Scituate, and he is a New York Times best-selling author. He's a fantastic illustrator. We've read some of his books in the St. Paul's Library. He wrote Bats at the Library and the Bats Playing Baseball book. The Bat books are really great. But this book is about hope. This book is called The Rough Patch. And this book shows that even when really bad things happen, there's always good coming, right? And I know we all believe that. And I love this book for a lot of reasons. I love the hopeful message. I like that it shows us that when things can get bad, they can get really good again. And also, his illustrations are really, really beautiful. So I want you to watch how when the story is happy, his illustrations are bright and colorful. And when things are not so happy and gloomy, his illustrations get dark. Kind of like The Napping House, where the illustrations are really great. That's what this book is like. So I hope you enjoy The Rough Patch by Brian Lees. Evan and his dog did everything together. They played games and enjoyed sweet treats. They shared music and adventure. They were together all through the day and all through the seasons. But what they loved the most was working in Evan's magnificent garden. He's dropping a little green bean down to the dog. Cute. There, everything they planted grew as big and as beautiful as the sky above them. But one day, the unthinkable happened. What happens when a dog or a pet gets very old? His dog passed away, right? Evan laid his dog to rest in a corner of the garden, and nothing was the same. Evan shut himself away inside. Without his best friend, the garden was a bitter and lonely place. One morning he found himself with a hoe in his paws. Swinging angrily, he slashed the garden to the ground. See how his illustrations get dark? He hacked it all to bits and threw everything into a heap. Sometimes when you're very sad or very angry about something, you're like, that's it, and you kind of destroy things. You're very upset, especially things that might remind you of the thing that has upset you, right? But a good place won't stay empty for long. New plants sprouted and stretched toward the sky. Weeds. Itchy ones, spiky and prickly ones, foul-smelling ones. These weeds suited Evan just fine, so he took care of them. So he is feeling kind of prickly and bitter, and so he is happy to have these prickly and kind of bitter plants, right? If Evan's garden couldn't be a happy place, then it was going to be the saddest, most desolate spot he could make it. And soon it was. Now look at this illustration. How amazing is that fox? Now, some of you might garden. I garden. Do you know, when you look at the leaves, what kind of plant this might be coming up? When Evan found a pumpkin vine sneaking in under the fence, he raised his hoe to chop it. But then he considered its prickly stems, fuzzy leaves, and spidery, twisty tendrils. He let it be. So I've grown pumpkins, and when you touch them, there are a lot of vegetables you grow. When you touch the vine, they're spiky. So when you're trying to pick the pumpkin, squash, cucumbers, some other vegetables too are like this. It hurts. They're like little spikes. So Evan has decided he'll let the pumpkin vine come in to the garden. As the pumpkin vine grew, Evan cleared the weeds from its path and watered it. The vine responded to his care. Look what's growing. Around the time the evening air began to cool, Evan felt an old, familiar sense of excitement. It was Fair Week. He loaded up the pumpkin and drove to town. He took care of important fair business and gobbled down some delicious fair food. Pizza, candy apples, toffee apple. Ooh. He caught up with some friends too. It felt good to be out again, even if it wasn't quite the same. So it's not quite the same without his best friend, right? But life is carrying on, and he has other friends, and he has other things that he can do, right, to continue on. Evan's pumpkin won 3rd place. Prize is $10 or one of the pups in that box, the judge said. I'll take the 10, said Evan. Sorry, my kids are playing a game downstairs. But as he claimed his prize, he heard a scratching sound inside the box and thought it wouldn't hurt to just look. Just look in. So he was going to take the $10 prize, but then he thought, I'll just peek at the puppies. Do you think he went home with the 10, or do you think he took a pup from the box? Right? It's really sweet. So, of course, he couldn't replace his puppy, his dog, his best friend. You don't replace somebody, but he was still able to share his life with a different pet, right? With a different dog. So even in the roughest of times, something great can sneak in, right? Just when you least expect it. I'm interested to see how you guys liked this book. I love it. I love that he took that pup home at the end and all the good things that snuck into the garden, right? And I have a feeling Evan's going to get right back to gardening with his new gardening buddy, right? And have an even more beautiful garden the next year. And I hope you really liked the illustrations that Brian did. I think they're really fantastic. So this was The Rough Patch by Brian Lees, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another story. And don't forget to get outside for some recess if you can. This whole week looks rainy up through Saturday, so if you see a bright spot, go out and run around for a little while. Okay, see you tomorrow.